I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk to folks from the VTuber community about their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. Koiyaki joins us. Hi.
Hello.
Please introduce yourself to everybody.
My name's Koiyaki. I've been streaming since like 2017, and I like to draw, and blue's my favorite color.
So you've been streaming for quite a while.
Yeah, I used to actually be a face streamer before I switched over to VTubing.
What made the difference for you?
First and foremost, mainly, I used a green screen when I was a face streamer,
Hmm.
and I had to use a lot of lights because the lighting situation where I lived was just terrible. But
Hmm.
the lights I used were like just cheapo office lights that I put toilet paper on to disperse, and they would give me headaches every single time I was done streaming. So, in order to basically circumvent that, I switched to VTubing, and now I can have the lights pushed away from me, still with the tissue paper on. But I think the main reason why I switched to VTubing was because when I first saw just a model moving, I think it was like on Reddit or something. I don't know which model it was. No, I remember. It was the Live 2D base model they let you use to practice with. I saw that moving and I was like, wait a minute, that's not an animation. What is that? Then I did some research and I was like, I want to make one. So I made one.
So you just did this on your own. You decided you were going to learn how to do it, and you did it.
Yeah, basically.
Wow. Well, my hat's off to you for that, because I wouldn't have even the slightest skill to do something like that. But so this what you're using now is something that you created.
Yes.
Ooh, congratulations! But you do art anyway, do you not? Are you an artist?
Yes. Basically, everything on my stream I've made myself for both because I don't know how to really describe what I want to somebody else, and I didn't really have the financial means to have someone else do it. But I've been drawing ever since I was in like, I want to say late elementary school.
So you picked it up pretty early, and that early, I imagine everything is pretty much self-taught.
Yeah, actually, I first actually started drawing legitimately when I first saw the Powerpuff Girls. For whatever reason, something in my head was like, I like those. I want to draw them. I got some printer paper. I asked my mom for a pen, and the rest is history.
Well, everybody gets inspiration somewhere, and that got to be your inspiration. And yeah, evidently you fell in love with actually the act of art itself.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So is that something that you continue to pursue throughout school?
Unfortunately, no. I'm actually an immigrant, so
Hmm.
I'm from Nigeria. I was
Hmm.
born there, but I don't have an accent because I grew up in America.
Hmm.
And for a lot of immigrants, they'd probably know. Your parents basically say you are a doctor, you are a lawyer, or you own a business. Nothing else.
Yeah, that's not even pigeonholing. That's just smashing you down a hole, saying that you're going to be doing this no matter what. Uh, but
Basically.
but you do get to flex your art muscles a little bit now, don't you?
Yes, I do. Every so often, I do a couple of commissions, but yeah, I do just straight up love drawing, and I love art in general. I wouldn't consider myself artsy, but
Hmm.
whenever I see something pretty, I'm like, man, I want to draw that.
So, what would you say your art style was, besides your own?
I would say because I started with Pop of Girls, and because I also love anime, it's a mix of both anime and Western cartoons, specifically Western cartoons made by Lauren Faust and Craig McCracken, because those are the ones that kind of really inspired me to start drawing things like, as I said, Dexter's Laboratory,
Hmm.
Pop of Girls,
Yes.
and I was never a fan of My Little Pony when I was growing up. I always thought it was stupid. But once Lauren Faust put like her pen to paper for it, I was like, I actually like how this looks. I both hate and I love you at the same time. I wouldn't consider myself a brony in any way, shape, or form, but I just really loved her character design.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
basically you got roped in.
I'm sorry.
You got roped in by this. You kind of got trapped by the style, and you're like, okay, I really do like this now.
Yes, basically. And then obviously, growing up, I watched things like what's it called, Speed Racer
Mm,
and Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, all the really like old timey stuff that people just grew up with. So
yeah.
yeah, it's a mix of both. I would say it's more of the Western part is more of like the actual body proportions, while the anime part is more of like faces and the eyes.
Well, there is a big difference to that, and with that, you were able to create your own style with this, I imagine. Is art going to be a focus of your channel going forward?
Oh no, it's never been a focus on my channel. It's basically just been something on the side. My main focus on my channel is mainly just gaming and rambling while I game
Mm,
because I actually first started streaming to force myself to actually practice for my League of Legends team that I was a part of. And then once that fell through, I kept streaming because it kind of reminded me of when my little sisters would be watching me when I'm playing a game. And I just really love that feeling. So
yeah.
I just kept doing it. Though I do draw from time to time, whether it be because I'm drawing stuff for the stream or because somebody's redeemed like a channel point commission. So I do that for people to watch, or I'm just doing a commission in general. So it's not a main part, but it is there.
So I watched a recent one. You were doing the Chocobo racing. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Here recently. They so you is that the type of game that you enjoy? Those style of games, or what do you usually like to stream?
The main thing I would say I stream is League of Legends. It's a game that I always come back to, and basically, if there's nothing else that I'm interested in, I'm playing League.
Right.
But my favorite genre would have to be like JRPGs or just RPGs in general.
Mm.
I like seeing number go up. I like story-based games like that, and I like the systems that usually come with it. I also like MMOs in the vein of WoW and Final Fantasy 14,
Right.
but usually if there's a new mainline Final Fantasy game coming out or some sort of JRPG within a series that I like, I'm probably going to be playing that, and then once I'm done, I'm back to League.
So it's that's your comfort zone then, League of Legends.
Yes, I wouldn't say I'm a MOBA lover. I just like League of Legends.
Well, everybody's got their anchor to come back to, and it sounds like you're definitely open to playing these types of games when they come out. Is there something that's on your shelf that you haven't been able to do online yet?
I'm trying to think actually. Not necessarily. It's more of like games that I've already played
Hmm.
many times when I was a kid that I wouldn't mind streaming,
Hmm.
but either there's not a modern port of it yet. For example, Final Fantasy 13 is still stuck in my my PS3 box. Yes, there is a PC version, but I prefer playing it on console. And
Ah.
like older Final Fantasies that I wouldn't mind playing, but they're so long in comparison to like games nowadays that maybe one day, but not now.
Yeah, it's
Besides that, no, there's nothing that I'm just like I want to play this on stream, but I can't sort of thing yet.
so. Are you still playing games for yourself outside the stream?
Oh yes, I am.
Yeah, well, League obviously, I imagine, but some of these other games too. Uh, you pick up a Final Fantasy earlier game to play for yourself off the stream.
Oh yeah, like for example, I'm playing Final Fantasy Rebirth right now, which is a remake of Final Fantasy 7, but I just recently bought again the OG Final Fantasy 7 that I'll be playing on my own time. And then there's Tales of Arise, which is a really good entry in the Tales of series that I'm playing on my own time right now.
So gaming for you.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot worse ways to go. Believe me, a lot more. It definitely sounds like a lot of fun, and it sounds like it's a big part of what you're enjoying online. Have you been a person who like to get out there and perform for other people and show off what you have?
Um, it really depends. Like, what do you mean? Like trying to go into like contests or something?
Contests or say with this particular medium, you're out there and you've got an audience. Did you when you were younger, did you seek audiences to perform in front of?
Oh, absolutely not. It
Mm,
wasn't until I actually started streaming where I actually got more social,
mm,
I guess,
yeah.
because I was more of not necessarily a recluse. Like if I had to deal with people, I know how to,
Hmm.
but it was mostly like a facade, a mask.
Yeah.
Now I still, if I had a choice, I don't deal with people, but whenever I do deal with them, I'm more genuine and I'm more comfortable with talking to them. For example, I wouldn't actually even be doing this if it wasn't for streaming.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on because I appreciate meeting you and finding out what you're all about. Um, here on this, we're just talking. It's not really so much an interview as I'm just seeing what's
Oh no,
going
I know, I
on.
understand that. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't even like put myself out there, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of folks who are blossoming in a way because of what VTubing or streaming in general is allowing them to do. Do you think this is the case for you as well?
Most definitely. If I didn't start streaming or continue streaming, I probably would have just been playing League right now by myself
Mm.
in the dark.
So, for someone like yourself who is adapting a little bit more to socialization through VTubing, have you been able to collaborate much?
I actually haven't really collaborated with anyone yet because, as I said before, I still don't necessarily go looking for people
Right.
to like talk to or whatever, but I'm more open to it.
Hmm.
And I guess the main reason why I actually haven't really collaborated isn't so much of my like I don't go looking for people. It's more of I don't really know how
Yeah.
to initiate a collaboration or something. Or whenever I do see people collaborating, they're playing games I'm just not into because I have a very rigid, not okay, not rigid, but a very thin line of what I like to play.
Hmm.
And most people are playing like Minecraft or Phantom Phobia over and over again. I'm like,
That doesn't fit any of your categories right now.
yeah, basically.
Yeah, and that's but you are able to get into tournaments though. And you've done those online.
I've done a couple of League of Legends tournaments, yes.
How'd you do?
Um, I think like two or three. I think we ended up around second or third place.
Hmm.
Most other ones kind of fell through because of people just rage quitting in our team
Oh,
for multiple reasons.
yeah. If I was on a team, I would be the reason the other people would rage quit. I'm afraid. Why is he here? Just throw it down and walk away. Um,
Mhm.
the For you, was that a little tough getting together and being a part of a team after not being a super social to begin with, not looking for people?
As I said, I even though I'm still not really super social,
Hmm.
if I have to deal with people, I know how to do so. From both being in a a family that has a lot of extended relatives, and also just because even though I'm not using my degree, I do have a degree in biochemistry and molecular biology, and that forced me to like work in a lot of different teams for classes and stuff. So I know how to deal with people. I just prefer not to. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I also know that from that degree, you can deal with them on a molecular level, even if I can't say it. Um, when you got your degree, I mean that wasn't something you just decided I'm going to go get a degree. You worked really hard at it, obviously, because that's
Yeah.
not everybody walks away with a degree like that. Um, is that perseverance something that you've been able to put into your VTuber career as well?
Oh, yeah, because as I said, when I first saw like that model moving, even though in my head I was like, I want to do that, I did a good amount of research as to first off what the heck I was looking at because I had no idea what I was looking at. So I tried to see what the heck it was. I figured out that it was a VTuber. I was like, what the heck is a VTuber? I looked it up. I'm like, oh, it's just basically someone's using a model and they're using a camera to capture their face. Seems simple enough. It's not.
Yeah,
And I remember when I first sketched out my model, I was like, okay, so things need to move. I know enough about human anatomy and like art within the like way of how animation's supposed to work. Because
Right.
I did take one animation class in college. So I was like, okay, I know how the body's supposed to move.
Well.
It doesn't really matter too much if the pieces aren't right. And I remember the first time I cut my VTuber model, it was not cut correctly, especially the face. So when I put it into the program to start animating it, it didn't work out. So I had to go back, recut everything, then put it in. And it was, I think, around a 3 month process from just drawing the first off, getting my model to look the way I wanted it to look,
Mhm.
then actually making sure all the pieces were correct, and then actually teaching myself how to actually not only put the files in the right place, well, not the files, the layers in the right place, and then animating said layers.
Uh,
And in my opinion, the actual animation or rigging part of VTubing is not hard. It's just extremely tedious.
yeah. Yeah. Once you know how to do it, I imagine you can do it. But it's like mowing the lawn. You know how to do it, but you don't really want to.
Exactly. Like it will take you, even if you are a fast worker, in my opinion, it will take you a good couple of days to maybe a couple weeks to actually fully rig an avatar and have some extra animations or whatever and make it look smooth.
Now, how do you do that? And I mean, I wouldn't have the patience to do that. Do you have the patience to do that?
I mean, no. But as an artist, or at least as a digital artist, you kind of just take the punches as they come. For example, like I like sketching. I
Mm,
don't like line art because line art is basically just tracing over your sketch and making it not look ugly.
mm,
And that takes way longer for me than I really like to because, as I said, you're making sure everything looks perfect. And then
right.
after that, you can color. So I like sketching. I like coloring. I don't like line art.
You,
Line art is the tedium of art,
if
in
you
my opinion.
if you just find someone to do that little mid part for you, you're all set.
Yeah, basically, and actually in a lot of different art things, like I know for a fact, like in comic books, they literally have different people who do like the main storyboarding. They have another person who does the actual lines, and then they have another person who does the coloring.
Uh,
Because yes, you can have one person do all of it, but they would lose their minds.
yeah, they would in a hurry. I'd imagine it, and it would be tough for me to trust somebody else to do something like that because it would be very personal for me to do an art a piece of art or a model in this case, and I was like, well, I'll let them do it and then come back and no, it's all wrong. I got to do it anyway. Uh, could you find enough trust in somebody else to let them do that for you?
I guess for me, it's not so much trust as it's like the back of my head would be like, okay, this looks nice, but I didn't do it, so it just feels dirty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's that. I do know what you mean as far as that goes. Plus, there's the artist tendency to always want to tweak things.
Exactly. So it's like if I were to have somebody re-rig my avatar, like keep the art but re-rig it, I would look at it and be like, this looks too good, or this looks not well enough. And then I would go and tweak it, and then it just looks terrible because like I didn't do it the way that they did it, or I messed up where the layers go. But yeah, like I would really like to have like a somebody who does this as a profession to make my avatar, rig it great, give me some great animations. But then when I'm using the avatar, I'm like, why does this feel wrong for me to use this?
That's a that I can just see that attitude in a person who really cares about what they're doing, and you obviously do. I mean, really, you want it to be right, and in the end, even though there's extra work involved, you'll do that extra work.
Yeah, that's basically how I am. Yeah,
Yeah, I can hear that clear as a bell, and I don't blame you. I mean, I would find it very tough to trust somebody who who may even do it right, but then you get the idea that yeah, but I wouldn't quite do it this way. You kind of lose your own um lose your own input into it. You don't buy into it as much. Do you think that's true?
In a sense, yeah. It depends on what kind of art or whatever
Uh-huh.
we're talking about. But yeah, for a model, it would just feel like this looks great, but I didn't do it.
Not enough me in in that. Now, since you do have a background with art, have you found that you've uh, second guessed artistry in the games that you play?
I don't necessarily second guess it. It's just more of now whenever I see certain things related to art in games, I either know how it was made or I wonder how they were able to do that when usually it's done a certain way.
Yeah.
So, especially with 3D sculpting and modeling, I'm just looking at like the effects and I'm like, how many layers are there?
Well, someone like me who can't draw stick figures would be like, "Ooh, that looks good." You're like, "How many layers is it? What is the exact particular plane?" You're dissecting it while
Yeah, for example,
I'm like, "I really like how that looks."
like for example, I when I went to go and see The Way of Water when it came out,
Uh-huh.
uh when I was like I wasn't looking for reviews, but like, nonsense would come on my feed because I booked a Way of Water ticket.
Right.
People were talking about how James Cameron put 60 frames at certain parts of the movie. And I noticed when there was the normal 24 frames and then the 60 frames, because for anybody who doesn't know, normal like TVs and movies are filmed at 24.9 something frames a second. Unless you're in Europe, then it's slightly different because reasons I couldn't tell you why. But
Metric system. We'll call it the metric system.
probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, so movies and TV are 24 frames a second.
Hmm.
So if you're a gamer and you watch The Way of Water and you notice, wait a minute, why does this look a tiny bit smoother than what I'm used to? It's because there are certain areas, I think especially during like certain water scenes, they were at 60 FPS and I could easily pick up on that. And also now, whenever I watch a movie like or a really old movie that was trash for certain reasons, I know exactly when the green screen is there and it's being used terribly.
So,
For
so
example, the Warcraft movie.
yeah, yeah. A lot of 80s and 90s movies. You'll find that the stuff that used to be on the backside of Netflix, the ones that nobody would get.
Yeah.
Now, you're not the person who sits in a movie theater and points it out to everybody, are you?
No, I don't point it out to everybody. I just like think of it myself, and then like whoever I went to the movie with, I talk about afterward, and then they're like, "Okay, there she goes again."
But I should stand up to everybody. There it is. That's the fact. And everybody's like, please sit down.
Yeah.
Nope. But it having that, it doesn't take away from your ability to enjoy it, does it?
Oh no, if anything, I just get more interested in how the visual effects people were able to do certain things or what were the actors actually looking at
Mm.
when they were acting. Because, for example, in The Way of Water, it's all, for the most part, just people in what's it called? Motion capture suits.
Right.
So a lot of the actual like backgrounds and stuff are just fake. The
Right.
only things that they're usually seeing are the rigs that they're using for whatever animal they're riding or whatever sticks or puppets that James Cameron is having them talk to. So that's what I'm more interested in. I don't necessarily look at it as a negative thing. I'm just like, how was this made?
I wonder about how these folks think when they're in the motion capture suits, just kind of moving back and forth, and then they see on the screen that they're actually riding an ostrich or something. Like, how did I do that?
Yeah.
That would that would really throw me for a loop, and probably the ostrich too. But the you know when you've got this going now, and you've got the channel rolling, and you've got a good number of followers, have you found it easy to connect with the folks that are in your chat while you're playing your games?
I guess at least for me, like even though I am VTubing, I don't really know much about VTubing culture.
Mm,
And at least from what I know now, it's more of like an idol culture, like like a K-pop star or like a
right.
J-pop star sort of thing,
Yeah.
or like back in the day when we had like boy bands or whatever, just people in a sense idolizing whoever is on the screen. For me, I kind of just use my avatar as what it was, an avatar. I don't have any lore. I don't necessarily have a persona I go into. It's just me as a unicorn.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily try to put on a persona or an act or anything. So when people do talk to me or like they're in my chat, I guess I'm not necessarily trying to connect with them. I'm just doing as I usually do, which is going back in the day where my sisters would backseat game me or they would ask me questions and I would just talk to them.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just being myself whenever I'm on stream.
Well, that's the best way to go, and that so far it's worked out well for you. Folks who want to see what Koiyaki's got going on, we're going to have the links to the various channels coming up in the description for this particular interview. I really do appreciate you coming on, and I wish you all the best of luck in the future with what's happening. And if you get something big coming on, let me know, and we'll get you back on and update what's going on with your channel, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.